Hey, what's up? This is Eric, host of Change Talk. So I just wanted to talk to my followers out there for a little bit, let them know a little bit about who I am, a little bit about what I've been through, so that maybe you could have a little bit of understanding of how I got to this point in my life. So first of all, I grew up in a small city, Southern California. Today I'm 43 years old. I'm a former gang member. Grew up around gangs, seen a lot of things maybe I shouldn't have at a young age, was influenced, and began to take that road. At the age of 12, my brother was murdered. That set me on a path of destruction, and at the time not understanding how to talk, how to communicate with people, I turned to alcohol, substance abuse, and that led down even a worse path of destruction. And as a gang member, that just played into everything that I was doing. Played into violence. I started getting arrested at a young age. Ended up in juvenile hall. Eventually, I ended up in the California Youth Authority. And back then, in places like that, there really wasn't much reform or rehabilitation going on there. In fact, I have to say, those places even made us worse. It was kind of survival of the fittest, and you were either strong-minded or you weren't. And so sadly, I've seen a lot of abuse, a lot of people get hurt, sexual abuse, people getting raped, things like that would take place, people committing suicide. And at a young age, that can really distort your mind, picked up a lot of bad characteristics that played into that. And when I got out at the age of 20, I was worse than when I went in. Continued in the gang lifestyle, continued building up my status, and eventually I was involved in murder. And that would lead to me becoming incarcerated. And that's why I'm here today. And so I continued down that path of destruction even inside prison. It just continued in here. Gangs continue in here, drugs continue in here. And so it's just a lifestyle that you adopted, a lifestyle that you've accepted, and that you've taken on. And you become engulfed in that lifestyle, taken back by it, and entrenched in it. And so when you come into prison, you fall right into place because you've been doing this since a young age, and you've learned through the system how to adapt and how to survive. And so finally I came to a place in my life where I wanted to make change, but I didn't know how. I didn't know how to turn away from the gang lifestyle, and I cared a lot about what people thought about me. I cared what would they think if I did. And so at the time, there wasn't no self-help groups. I was stuck in solitary confinement, and they told me that's where I'd spend the rest of my life in prison. I didn't accept that though, but still, what does change look like? There was nobody around me that was making change, so it's not like I had any examples. In fact, everybody was trying to climb that ladder and become somebody in the gang lifestyle. And so for me, as a young kid, thankfully, my mother and my family, they had taught me about God. And they taught me if you ever came to a place in your life where you needed help, don't ever be afraid to call out to God. And so that's what I did. I called out to God and I asked for help. And I began to read the Bible. And as I began to read, I began to understand. And I began to believe. And at the right time, I accepted Christ in my life. That was in 2012. And I came out and I told all the guys around me in solitary confinement that I was giving my life to the Lord. And from that day forward, things began to change for the better. Although I still continued in solitary confinement for a while, God used me as a light in a dark place. And I began to reach out to people and I began to help people back there. And in 2016, I made it out of the SHU, solitary confinement, the security housing unit here at CSP Corcoran. And I was released to the yard. And right away, I got involved in church, started helping out, became a leader, ended up becoming a minister there, and just began to help people on the yard. And that progressed, and it just continued to go forward. and my life just continued to change. Got involved in self-help programs, and eventually just had to make more decisions of changing my life and leave completely the gang lifestyle behind. And that led to me coming to this program, OMCP, which helped change my life and improve it more. They offered me an opportunity to become an alcohol and other drug counselor and become certified. So we went through that. It was supposed to be an 8-month program, but because of COVID-19, it turned into a 2-year process. Nevertheless, it's the best program I ever experienced. And they taught us so much. Many of the instructors came in here, taught us about group dynamics, taught us about different substances and drugs that affect people's life, pharmacology, law and ethics, and educated us in how to become substance abuse counselors. And so it's been an awesome opportunity. And out of that program, I pitched the idea to do a podcast here at CSP Corcoran, and we could do it on bringing awareness to substance abuse, rehabilitation, education, and informing the public. And so right here, the podcast goes out on the institutional channel where every inmate in the cell that has a TV can watch from the TV sets. And as we're growing it, hopefully we can get it out to the public as well, maybe on one of the streaming podcast platforms that everybody eventually will be able to check it out. And until then, via third party, we set up an Instagram account. And so I got people out there helping me with that so that we can bring awareness even from right here to all those that are willing to watch and that are following, and maybe even bring on some of the guys in here and do little redemption stories from the prison day room floor so that you can get a feel and understanding of what's taking place right here in prison. And the rehabilitation and the reform is happening. And so with that said, I'm going to let you go today. But I thank you once again for tuning in and checking this out. With that said, I'm signing off from Corcoran with prayers, love, and a little bit of change talk. Peace.